7 amazing perennials to plant this fall before the weather gets too cool. Most gardeners think fall means the end of planting season, but that's a costly mistake that could rob you of spectacular blooms next spring. While everyone else is packing away their tools, smart gardeners know this is actually the secret weapon season for creating an incredible garden that will make your neighbors jealous come springtime. Welcome back to Seniors Gardening Advice. I'm Sam, and in this guide, I'm going to reveal 7 tough, reliable perennials that not only survive fall planting, but actually thrive because of it. These aren't your typical garden center recommendations. These are the plants professional flower farmers and landscape experts swear by. If you're serious about building a low-maintenance, pollinator-friendly garden that explodes with color year after year, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you'll want to catch every episode where we share proven gardening wisdom specifically designed for gardeners who value results over trends. Let me ask you something. Would you rather struggle with wimpy plants that barely survive winter, or would you prefer robust perennials with deep root systems that come back stronger every single year? Drop a comment below and let me know which of these 7 powerhouse plants you're most excited to try. And if you find value in this guide, smash that like button. It helps more gardening enthusiasts discover these game-changing tips. Why fall planting changes everything. Before we explore these 7 incredible perennials, let's talk about why fall planting is so powerful. Many gardeners feel anxious about putting plants in the ground during autumn. It seems backward, doesn't it? The growing season is winding down, leaves are changing, and winter is approaching. Your instinct might tell you to wait until spring. But here's the truth that professional horticulturists understand. Fall offers conditions that spring simply cannot match. When you plant perennials during early autumn, something magical happens beneath the soil surface. Those cooler temperatures, still above freezing but comfortably mild, signal plants to channel all their energy into establishing massive root networks instead of producing flowers and foliage. Think about it from the plant's perspective. In springtime, everything is competing for the plant's resources. It's trying to grow leaves, produce blooms, expand upward, and establish roots all at the same time. That's exhausting for a young transplant. But in fall, the plant gets to focus exclusively on what matters most, building a foundation. The seasonal rainfall patterns work in your favor too. Autumn typically brings more consistent moisture compared to the unpredictable weather of late spring and early summer. This means you won't need to stand out there with a hose every evening, worrying about whether your new plants are getting enough water. Mother Nature handles most of the irrigation for you. There's another advantage that experienced gardeners appreciate. Fall planting dramatically reduces transplant shock. When you move a plant from a nursery pot into your garden during the scorching heat of summer, that plant experiences tremendous stress. The combination of root disturbance and intense sun exposure can set plants back for weeks or even cause them to fail completely. Fall's gentler conditions make the transition smooth and nearly stress-free. By the time spring arrives, these fall-planted perennials have already spent months developing extensive root systems. They're anchored firmly in place, ready to access water and nutrients efficiently. While your neighbors are planting new transplants that need constant attention, your perennials are already established and ready to put on an incredible show with minimal effort from you. The result? Healthier plants, denser growth, more abundant blooms, and significantly better performance year after year. Fall planting isn't just a good option, it's often the superior choice for long-term garden success. The 7 perennial champions for fall planting. Now let's explore 7 outstanding perennials that respond exceptionally well to fall planting. I've organized these based on insights from professional flower farmers and landscape designers who grow thousands of these plants every year. These aren't theoretical recommendations, these are proven performers. Perennial number 1, wild bergamot. Let's start with a stunning native plant that deserves way more attention than it gets, wild bergamot, which many people know as bee balm.
The botanical name is Monarda fistulosa, but don't let the fancy Latin intimidate you. This plant is incredibly straightforward to grow. Wild bergamot produces these gorgeous lavender-colored blooms that rise up on tall stems, creating a vertical element in your garden that adds incredible visual interest. The flowers have a unique shaggy appearance that looks almost wild and untamed, perfect for naturalistic garden designs that are so popular right now. But here's what makes wild bergamot truly special. It releases a clean, refreshing, minty fragrance that naturally repels certain pests while simultaneously attracting the good guys, butterflies, bees, and other beneficial pollinators. Your garden becomes a haven for the insects we actually want while discouraging the ones that cause problems. Jennifer Collins, a professional flower farmer and the founder of Heritage Bloom Farm, calls wild bergamot one of her top drought-tolerant native plants. It does a wonderful job of filling in those pesky empty spots in the yard while blooming tall as a lovely background plant, she explains. The spreading growth habit means you get more coverage without needing to buy additional plants. This perennial thrives in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 10, which means it can handle both brutal northern winters and hot southern summers. That's an incredibly wide range, making it accessible to gardeners across most of the country. Wild bergamot is relatively short-lived in terms of its bloom time. You'll get about 3 to 4 weeks of flowers in early summer. But here's a fantastic bonus feature. You can harvest those blooms and dry them for herbal tea. It's not just ornamental, it's functional too. Fall is an excellent time to find wild bergamot at local nurseries because many growers stock native plants during this season to meet demand from conservation-minded gardeners. Look for healthy transplants with strong root systems. When planting, give each one plenty of space because they have a spreading habit and will fill in nicely over time. Mix wild bergamot into your borders or use it in meadow-style gardens where its height creates a beautiful layered effect. It pairs wonderfully with shorter perennials planted in front of it, and it provides that naturalistic cottage garden look that so many people love.
Perennial number 2, Spike Speedwell. Our second superstar perennial goes by 2 names, Veronica or Spike Speedwell. This hardy plant has become a go-to choice for landscape designers because of its remarkable texture and reliability. Maria Patterson, a plant specialist and the creator of Garden Design Fundamentals, uses Veronica in practically every design she creates. The texture is so striking and plays nicely with most perennials, she explains. We particularly love how Veronica contrasts the softness of other plants with more rounded foliage. It looks like paintbrushes standing upright in your garden. That description is perfect. Spike Speedwell produces these vertical flower spikes covered in tiny blooms, typically in shades of deep blue, purple, or occasionally pink. They rise above the foliage like little rockets, creating strong vertical lines that draw the eye upward and add architectural interest to any planting bed. The foliage itself is attractive too, dark green leaves that form tidy clumps at the base of the plant. Even when Veronica isn't blooming, it contributes texture and structure to your garden. That year-round presence is what separates great perennials from mediocre ones. Spike Speedwell thrives in USDA hardiness zones 4 through 8. It performs best in full sun with well-draining soil, which makes it perfect for those sunny spots in your yard where many other perennials struggle. The cooler temperatures of early fall provide ideal conditions for establishing this plant before winter arrives. The bloom time runs from late spring into mid-summer, giving you several weeks of color when your garden really needs it. And here's a pro tip. If you cut the plants back after that first flush of blooms, you'll often get a second round of flowering in late summer. That's called reblooming, and it's a valuable characteristic that extends the visual interest in your garden. Beyond its beauty, Spike Speedwell offers practical advantages. It's low maintenance once established, requiring very little fussing from you. It's also deer-resistant, which is a huge benefit if you live in an area where deer browse through gardens like they're at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Plant Veronica along borders where its spiky texture can contrast with plants that have softer, rounded shapes. It also works beautifully in mixed perennial beds, where you want to create rhythm and repetition by using the same plant in multiple locations throughout the space.
Perennial number 3, Tickseed. Let me introduce you to one of the most resilient, forgiving perennials you can grow, Tickseed, which botanists call Coreopsis. This plant is a champion survivor that seems to thrive even when conditions aren't perfect. Maria Patterson explains why fall is the optimal time to plant Tickseed. The cool air signals to the plant to focus on the growth of strong roots and not to put energy into the flowers. This perennial is very resilient when planted during autumn, since it's more likely to survive the winter and can handle a range of soil types. That adaptability is crucial for gardeners who don't have perfect loamy soil. Maybe your ground is a bit sandy. Maybe it's somewhat heavy clay. Tickseed doesn't complain. It just grows. That forgiving nature makes it ideal for beginners or anyone who wants a spectacular garden without the headaches. The flowers are what really make Tickseed shine. Vibrant blooms in shades of yellow, gold, orange, and sometimes pink or red appear in abundance. These cheerful colors bring warmth and energy to your landscape, and they look absolutely stunning when planted in large drifts where they can really make a statement. Tickseed is hardy in USDA zones 4 through 9, covering a broad geographic range. The bloom period is impressively long, too, from early summer straight through fall if you deadhead spent flowers regularly. That extended bloom time means you get months of color from a single planting, which is exactly what you want from a perennial investment. Maria adds a helpful note about wildlife. Coreopsis is technically deer-resistant, but keep in mind this flower isn't as resistant as some others, and some varieties do better with deer than others. Always do your research on the specific cultivar you're considering. That's wise advice. No plant is 100% deer-proof if the animals are hungry enough, but Tickseed is generally left alone more often than plants deer actively seek out. When shopping at nurseries in fall, look for Tickseed with those autumn vibrant hues prominently displayed. Healthy plants should have strong stems, rich green foliage, and well-developed root balls. Patterson notes that with its autumn colors, Tickseed should be readily available at garden centers during this season. Plant Tickseed where the soil warms up nicely in spring, but where it can also benefit from autumn's cooler air temperatures. These conditions encourage the root development that makes all the difference in creating plants that come back stronger year after year. Use Tickseed in sunny borders, cottage garden designs, or naturalistic landscapes where its informal growth habit looks right at home. It's also fantastic for cutting gardens because the flowers last well in arrangements and the plants produce blooms prolifically.
Perennial number 4, Garden Sage. Our fourth fall planting champion is Garden Sage, known botanically as Salvia nemorosa. This isn't the culinary sage you might use in cooking. This is an ornamental beauty that produces stunning vertical flower spikes in gorgeous shades of violet blue. Maria Patterson is a big fan of planting sage during early fall. Sage is a wonderful plant because it's hardy, reliable, and an early spring bloomer. It's great to have some color when most of the perennials haven't bloomed yet. That early spring color is incredibly valuable. After months of winter dormancy, gardeners are desperate for signs of life and color in their landscapes. While most perennials are just starting to wake up, sage is already putting on a show, lifting your spirits and signaling that the growing season has truly returned. But Patterson's appreciation for sage goes beyond just the flowers. I love how the spikes contrast with the roundness of other blooms. I even love the texture of the spent blooms after they finished flowering. That attention to texture is what separates good garden designers from amateurs. It's not just about color. It's about creating interesting combinations of shapes, forms, and textures that keep the eye engaged even when plants aren't blooming.
When planted in early fall, sage has precious time to develop strong, extensive root systems before winter arrives. That underground establishment sets the plant up for dense, robust blooms the following spring. You'll notice a dramatic difference compared to spring-planted sage. Fall-planted specimens typically produce more flower spikes and healthier foliage. Garden sage thrives in USDA hardiness zones 5 through 9. It's remarkably drought-tolerant once established, and it actually performs better in poor soils than in heavily enriched ground. Too much fertility causes the plant to produce excessive foliage at the expense of flowers. The bloom period runs from late spring into early summer, giving you several weeks of those striking upright spikes. And here's another bonus. If you deadhead faithfully in fall, you may be rewarded with a second flush of blooms. That potential for reblooming makes sage a consistent performer that delivers value throughout multiple seasons. Plant garden sage where it receives full sun, at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily. Make sure the soil drains well, because sage, like many Mediterranean origin plants, doesn't tolerate wet feet. If your soil is heavy, consider amending it with compost or planting in raised beds. Sage works beautifully in formal perennial borders, where its vertical spikes provide architectural structure. It's also stunning when mass-planted in drifts, where repetition creates rhythm and visual impact. Pair it with plants that have contrasting rounded flowers, like coneflowers or daisies, to highlight the unique spike shape.
Perennial number 5, Catmint. Let's talk about Catmint, which goes by the botanical name Nepeta racemosa. This versatile perennial has earned a permanent spot in gardens worldwide because it delivers consistently excellent performance with remarkably little maintenance. Maria Patterson explains why catmint regularly appears at nurseries. There's a reason catmint is usually available at garden centers. It's not only long-blooming but very hardy and so easy to care for. It has light, dusty green foliage growing in soft mounding forms filled with tiny purple blooms. That combination of attractive foliage and abundant flowers makes catmint a designer's dream. The soft, silvery green leaves create a gentle, calming backdrop that makes bolder plants pop by comparison. Then those clouds of tiny purple-blue flowers appear, covering the plant in a hazy mist of color that looks romantic and cottage garden perfect. One of catmint's greatest strengths is its incredible bloom period. With proper deadheading, which simply means removing spent flowers, catmint will bloom from late spring all the way through summer. That extended performance means you're getting months of color from a single plant investment. Catmint comes in multiple sizes too, which gives you flexibility in how you use it. Patterson notes, there are larger varieties that will really take up space in your garden, or shorter varieties if you're looking for a border plant. The taller varieties work beautifully as mid-border plants, where they can intermingle with neighbors and create that layered, naturalistic look. The compact varieties are perfect for edging pathways or defining the front of planting beds, where they create neat, tidy boundaries. This perennial thrives in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 8, though some cultivars can handle zone 9. That impressive range means most gardeners can enjoy catmint regardless of where they live. One of the reasons catmint is ideal for September planting is its drought tolerance. Once established, catmint needs very little supplemental water, making it perfect for low-maintenance landscapes. During fall, when rainfall is typically more reliable, new transplants get the moisture they need to establish without requiring constant attention from you. Maria Patterson shares a money-saving tip. The perennials you typically find at nurseries will start depleting in early or mid-summer, but you can take advantage of end-of-season sales. If you're lucky to have a good friend dividing perennials, that's another way you can get plants installed in autumn. That's excellent advice. Many nurseries discount perennials in fall to clear inventory so you can score high-quality plants at bargain prices. And if you know established gardeners willing to share divisions from their own gardens, you're getting tough, proven plants adapted to your local conditions, often for free. Plant catmint in full sun to light shade. It's not picky about soil as long as drainage is adequate. After planting in fall, water regularly until the ground freezes to help roots establish, then step back and let nature take over. Use catmint wherever you want soft, billowy texture and long-lasting color. It pairs wonderfully with roses, creating that classic combination that gardeners have loved for centuries. It also works beautifully with other perennials in mixed borders, where it weaves between neighbors and softens hard edges.
Perennial number 6, common milkweed. Now we come to a plant that's not just beautiful, it's ecologically crucial. Common milkweed, known botanically as Asclepias tuberosa. If you care about supporting pollinators and contributing to environmental health, this perennial belongs in your garden. Jennifer Collins, our professional flower farmer from Heritage Bloom Farm, is passionate about milkweed. Another favorite cut flower on our farm is milkweed, with its uniquely shaped bright orange flower heads. Milkweed is a must-grow for everyone in zones 3 through 10. That vivid orange color is unforgettable. The flower clusters have an intricate structure that looks almost architectural, and they rise up on sturdy stems that make excellent additions to cut flower arrangements. In the landscape, they create focal points that draw the eye and brighten even the shadiest corners when planted appropriately. But the real magic of milkweed goes beyond aesthetics. Collins emphasizes this point. It's a drought-tolerant native plant and a host plant and critical food source for monarch butterfly larvae. Let me explain why that matters. Monarch butterflies are in serious decline due to habitat loss. These magnificent migrating insects need milkweed to survive. It's the only plant where monarchs lay their eggs, and it's the only food their caterpillars will eat. By planting milkweed in your garden, you're directly contributing to conservation efforts and providing essential habitat for these struggling pollinators. Beyond monarchs, milkweed attracts numerous other beneficial insects. Bees, butterflies, and native pollinators visit the flowers for nectar and pollen. Your garden becomes a thriving ecosystem that supports biodiversity and helps maintain ecological balance. Common milkweed is hardy across USDA zones 3 through 10, making it accessible to gardeners in nearly every region of the country. It handles both harsh winters and hot summers with equal ease. The bloom period runs for about 4 weeks in early summer, and here's a fantastic trick. If you cut the plant back to ground level after that first flowering, you'll often get a second flush of blooms in fall. That means you get 2 rounds of those spectacular orange flowers from a single plant. Milkweed is remarkably tough once established. It tolerates drought, performs well in poor soils, and requires zero fertilization to bloom spectacularly. That low-maintenance nature makes it perfect for busy gardeners or anyone who prefers plants that thrive on neglect rather than constant pampering. Fall planting is ideal for milkweed because autumn's cooler temperatures and regular rainfall give the plant time to establish its deep taproot system before winter. That extensive root network makes the plant incredibly resilient and able to access moisture deep underground during summer dry spells. Plant milkweed in full sun where it can really strut its stuff. Give each plant plenty of space because they can spread into nice clumps over time. Use milkweed in native plant gardens, pollinator gardens, naturalistic landscapes, or even in traditional perennial borders where its bright color creates stunning contrasts. And remember, those caterpillars you see munching on the leaves aren't pests. They're monarch larvae doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Resist the urge to spray any pesticides on or near milkweed. The whole point is supporting these creatures, and that means accepting some leaf damage as part of the process.
Perennial number 7, Yarrow. Our final fall planting superstar is Yarrow, botanically known as Achillea millefolium. This incredibly versatile perennial has earned its place as a garden staple for very good reasons. Jennifer Collins from Heritage Bloom Farm considers yarrow essential for her flower farm. Yarrow is one of the most popular cut flowers we grow because it comes in so many colors and is a native perennial, which means it's a critical food source for native pollinators. That color range is remarkable. Yarrow comes in white, yellow, gold, pink, red, salmon, and various pastel shades. You can select colors that coordinate with your existing landscape palette or choose contrasting hues that create exciting combinations. The flat-topped flower clusters have a distinctive look that's instantly recognizable. September is the perfect time to plant yarrow because temperatures are cooling down and rainfall becomes more frequent. Collins explains, these conditions mean the plant won't dry out or get too stressed as it would in the heat of summer. That reduced stress translates directly into better establishment and stronger plants. When you plant in fall, yarrow focuses entirely on root development, building the foundation it needs to perform beautifully for years to come. Once established, yarrow is remarkably tough. Collins emphasizes this. Yarrow is drought-tolerant and does not require any fertilization to bloom spectacularly in early summer and again in fall. Read that again. No fertilization required. Many perennials need regular feeding to perform well, but yarrow actually prefers lean conditions. Too much fertility causes floppy growth and fewer flowers. Plant it, ignore it, and watch it thrive. Yarrow grows successfully across USDA hardiness zones 3 through 10, making it suitable for nearly every climate in North America. Whether you're dealing with Minnesota winters or Georgia summers, yarrow handles it all. The bloom time is impressive, 8 full weeks starting in early summer. Then if you cut the plant back to ground level after flowering finishes, it rebounds with another round of blooms in early fall. That's 2 extended bloom periods from a single perennial that requires virtually no maintenance. That's exceptional value. Beyond its garden performance, yarrow makes an outstanding cut flower. The sturdy stems and flat flower heads last for days in arrangements, and you can even dry yarrow for use in everlasting bouquets and crafts. Plant yarrow in full sun with well-drained soil. It tolerates poor, rocky, or sandy soils that challenge other perennials. Once established, yarrow spreads gently to create nice colonies without becoming invasive or aggressive. Use yarrow in prairie-style gardens, cottage gardens, cutting gardens, or anywhere you want reliable, long-lasting color with minimal effort. Mix different colored varieties together for a tapestry effect, or plant large drifts of a single color for bold impact.
There you have it. 7 exceptional perennials that prove fall isn't the end of gardening, but one of the best planting opportunities of the year. Each plant offers something special: drought tolerance, pollinator support, extended blooms, and effortless beauty. The big takeaway? Don't put away your tools just yet. Planting now gives perennials time to establish strong roots before winter. Come spring, while neighbors fuss with new transplants, your garden will burst into growth and color with minimal effort. Before you head outside, make sure to subscribe to Seniors Gardening Advice. Every week we share practical tips and proven strategies designed to help gardeners like you succeed. Drop a comment below and tell me which perennial excites you most. Maybe the fiery butterfly milkweed or the striking spires of veronica. I read every comment and love hearing your plans. Timing is key. Aim to plant at least 6 weeks before your first frost. Nurseries often stock these perennials in fall, and you might even find bargains or divisions from friends. When planting, dig holes twice as wide as the root ball. Water well and mulch carefully. Let nature do the rest, and by spring, your garden will reward you beautifully.